Thank you, no problem. They get his check at the Lions. Now he gets that.
You're going to be scared of that?
Check.
What about Landry Jones? Jack at Trice Stadium at noon. It's an ABC game. Bob Stoops, they get a little humble last Saturday night by Manti Te'o.
They sure did. I think the challenge here is just get the team fired up and get them back on track after that embarrassment last week against the Irish.
Well, the Irish will have a charged environment when they return home to South Bend today. Pittsburgh visit to the Irish are now fully expected to roll into L.A. 11-0. They got BC and Wake Forest coming up next. The Panthers will come up a 47-point explosion against Temple, their highest output against the FBS in 13 years. Notre Dame permits about 10 points a game, but Tino Sinceri, the quarterback, has been playing well, making the trip to stud back Ray Graham and two other starters who were charged this week, Thursday to be exact, with misdemeanor assault. They've denied involvement. The school says it's going to reserve judgment. This also happens to be the game that Paul Chris is putting the players' names back on their jerseys after taking them away in preseason. He needs a spark today. The Irish, meanwhile, are vowing to handle the hype and avoid all the noise.
We don't talk about big picture. We don't talk about the BCS.
We have a sign up right outside our locker room that says avoid the noise. And, we really focus on that.
The noise is the hype around Notre Dame football right now. It's, everyone talking because we're 8-0, talking BCS games.
As a veteran, I think all the older guys see the broader aspect of where we could go.
The goal is to win every game and, go to the BCS National Championship.
There's no let-ups in our schedule, and our guys know that. So I want to see our football team be a better team in November than it was in October.
Discover Card brings you our probability chart. The odds of remaining unbeaten into the bowls. Even a better chance in Alabama, Notre Dame. And I know Kelly says there's no let-up in the schedule. What's your coach going to say? But hey, Pitt, BC, and Wake, that's a lull before USC comes in.
How about that red liner there? 2.9% chance of all four are unbeaten.
Well, it's an 18-game parlay to BCS Armageddon in the second to last season before the 14 bracket, which brings us to our BCS expert, Brad Edwards. We know that the Tide aren't safe if they keep winning, Brad, but the other three of the top four unbeaten teams, which fan base should be most concerned if nobody starts to stumble?
Yeah, Chris, to me, it's very clearly Notre Dame that has the least chance of finishing in the top two if all four of those teams went out. It starts with the polls and the fact that coming off its big win at Oklahoma, Notre Dame sits right now where if you look at the Harris poll and the coaches poll, the points suggest that more than 80% of the voters have the Irish at number 4 on their ballot. That's obviously not where you want to be at this stage of the season. And their remaining schedule is the weakest of those four teams, which tells you they're probably not going to hold on to those lofty computer numbers either. And they're the only one of the four that does not play on the final weekend of the season. And we have certainly seen times in the BCS era where that's been a factor, where one contender wasn't playing and another was having the opportunity to win a big game.
Brad, we mentioned a lot of folks are rooting for an LSU upset tonight. If that happens, how do you think that would impact the top five? You would presume LSU would be ahead of Bama, but where would they be with the other top three teams if they don't stumble?
Yeah, I don't think there's any question that because of the computers and because the Big 12 is the number 1 rated conference, because the Pac-12 is the number 3 rated conference, a one-loss team from the SEC is not going to be ahead of those others. But what LSU and Georgia, for that matter, have to hang their hat on is that USC could get hot and help them out a lot, because USC not only has Oregon tonight, but they have Notre Dame at the end of the season. So if you're LSU, take care of your business and root for the Trojans.
Brad, thanks. Good stuff. We'll talk to you as the weeks unfold. You know what these SEC fans are chanting the entire show?
Yeah.
Overrated.
Yeah.
Every time you show Notre Dame, Kansas State, and Oregon. I think what a lot of people around the country don't want to see is a one-loss SEC team.
Yeah.
Perhaps a non-champion Bama in over some of those undefeated teams. Who's the best number 2 team in the country right now as we start the day?
I'm going to give you the best number 1 team in the country. That's right. It's not Alabama.
No?
It's Notre Dame. Let me tell you. I'll give you 2 reasons.
You're with the computer.
Yeah. Hey, no, Irish have been a major college team. Every conference except the SEC and the Big East. Notre Dame is, Alabama's beaten one of them, Michigan. Notre Dame has beaten 3 Big Ten teams. Now, out of the opponents, Alabama's opponents, only 4 of them had winning seasons. Out of the Irish winning opponents, 7 of them have winning
So you're
season.
saying-
And listen, let me finish.
All right.
And then the Irish is the only undefeated team to beat two top 15 teams in the BCS. Only two. Alabama, none.
That's a lot of stuff.
That's
You're
right.
saying Notre Dame's better than Alabama.
I say right now, Alabama is number 2. And let me tell you why. If it wasn't for the preseason polls, Alabama wouldn't be up there. If you'd have taken 4 games, first 4 games, and then they got Western Kentucky and
Chris,
Florida Atlanta.
He's making up for last week when he picked Oklahoma to beat Notre Dame.
Exactly. Over there shooting guns in Norman.
Tell me why.
No, I'm going to tell you. Go ahead, Des.
Oh, okay. Well, listen. I mean,
2 team.
Dennis is with Coach. That was great. I'm sold. I think that Notre Dame may be the number 2 team, Coach, but not the number 1 team. They're not better than Alabama. Only reason I like Notre Dame right now is because finally, it seems as though their offense is starting to catch up with their defense. Young Everett Golson went on the road in Norman last week and played a marvelous game against an Oklahoma Sooners team that we all got a lot of respect for. Maybe we have too much respect for the Oklahoma Sooners. That has yet to be seen. But it seems like Notre Dame's offense is finally starting to catch up with that tremendous defense that they have, and that's why they may be the number 2 team right now, but not close to number 1.
Okay,
I think it depends on what we're asking here. Are we asking who's earned the right to be number 2, or who you think is the second best team? Because
his explanation covered all that.
If you go by the look test, Oregon is a team that nobody seems to want to respect, but the pollsters are putting them at 2. The look test, Oregon is at 2. I would have Kansas State as the second best team behind Alabama based on what they've done on the field, just like Notre Dame. Both those teams to me are so close because of what they've accomplished and who they've beaten and where they've beaten them. Notre Dame took a huge step last week, but end of the day, Notre Dame's going to need help. You just heard Brad Edwards, the guru of this. Notre Dame's going to need help if they want to get to the top 2.
Right now, you say Kansas State,
Kansas State, then Notre Dame, then Oregon. But if they all went out, I would eventually put Oregon up at 2.
The Irish are rolling, no doubt. You guys are duly impressed. We all are. But here's Pittsburgh. 2-2 head-to-head the last 4 years. All the games decided by 6 points or less. Yeah, I'm just beware
this year.
The letdown alert.
This year is different. Pittsburgh has no chance. The Irish smell a chance to go to the national championship game. They will not let up, boy. The Irish big.
Well, you are making up for last week. There's no doubt about that. I think Tino Sinceri, this quarterback, has not thrown an interception for Pitt since week 3. He's going to have to be spot on. The running back, Ray Graham, gives them balance. Notre Dame, this is the beginning. You just heard their players talking about the beginning of the mindset games. They've had 3 that everybody's telling them these are easy. You're going to kill Pitt. You're going to kill Boston College. Kill Wake Forest. It's all about USC. Right. So how do they show up? Brian Kelly's saying all the right things. If they show up ready to go, they're going to win this game.
Exactly.
And I think they will win. But I think Pitt's got a little bit better offense than people give them credit.
I agree with that, but I think this is going to be the best defense that they've seen all season. I think that Sinceri will throw at least 1 INT, and I have Notre Dame winning big at home. They're going to be focused. Brian Kelly, he has this group focused.
They're just trying to help make sure they're focused.
The pattern's been every Notre Dame opponent scores 1 million points the week before, and then the Irish shut them down. That's what